homeless. We'll have a full story tonight.
Thanks for choosing KRDO News Channel 13 at 5 o'clock. I'm Bart Bedsole. Heather has the night off. We want to get right to the main event, Inauguration Day, the swearing-in ceremony, and Donald Trump's inaugural speech.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
Donald Trump sworn in as the 45th President of the United States today, unconventional on the campaign trail. Trump sticking to tradition Friday with a defiant inaugural message reminiscent at times of campaign speeches.
We assembled here today are issuing a new decree to be heard in every city, in every foreign capital, and in every hall of power. From this day forward, a new vision will govern our land. From this day forward, it's going to be only America first.
Trump set high expectations of his new administration, saying he will fight with every breath of his body and will never let America down. And then Trump signed off the only way he knew how.
Together, we will make America great again. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Donald Trump wasn't the only prominent figure at the inauguration. Eyes were also on his wife and now First Lady Melania Trump, who was, of course, in attendance. Melania and now former First Lady Michelle Obama left the White House and arrived at the ceremony together. Melania was then escorted out to the stage where she and the rest of the Trump family watched as Donald took his oath and gave his speech. Many are curious to see how Melania will perform as First Lady, as the successor to Michelle Obama. The inaugural ceremony is one of America's most sacred traditions, and now Donald Trump joins some of our nation's greatest leaders.
I, John Fitzgerald Kennedy,
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the office
of President of the United States
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
Well, that's a quick trip through history. That sacred oath signaling the start of a new era. We've seen incredible moments play out at past inaugurations. A former president witnessed his son following in his footsteps, and the first African-American president was sworn into office in front of the largest inauguration crowd ever, an estimated 1.8 million people. Former presidents Bill Clinton, Jimmy Carter, George Bush, and of course Barack Obama were all in attendance today, and Obama took time to remember his own inaugural ceremony.
I was thinking to myself, let's make sure I don't screw this up. This is big, and I better be up to the task. I think the second inauguration, you may recall, I finished my speech. I was walking out and I decided, you know what, let me turn back and remember this.
An event sure to be remembered by every president. And Trump's opponent in the election, Hillary Clinton, was also in attendance for the inaugural ceremony. She looked on from the crowd as she witnessed Trump take his presidential oath and give his inaugural address. Earlier this morning, Clinton sent out a message on Twitter saying, quote, "I'm here today to honor our democracy and its enduring values. I will never stop believing in our country and its future." The two also shook hands at one point today. Back here in Pueblo, more than 100 people marched in protest of the inauguration of President Trump. Although protesters know their actions won't change the outcome of the election, they do hope to spark change. KRDO News Channel 13's Katie Spencer is live at the El Pueblo Museum to explain. Katie?
Yeah, Bart, the protest ended here, followed by a slate of speakers who aren't happy with Trump's conduct, his policies, or his election, among other things.
Women's rights are human rights.
Protesters gathered at the Sangre de Cristo Art Center to show their disapproval with Donald Trump as our new president.
that it's a time for us to stand up together in solidarity and union.
Drivers honked and waved, encouraging the demonstrators who say they still can't believe the way the election ended.
He's not my president. I didn't vote for him. I can't support him.
Latino issues matter.
Instead of watching the inauguration, those here wanted to ignite their community and take a stand.
So what are you going to do? I mean, he's the president. That doesn't mean that you can't activate people around whatever he would like to hand down.
The protesters say despite the fact that everything is said and done, it's still important for their voices to be heard.
I mean, I'm going to have to live with the decisions that they make, but that doesn't mean I have to like it.
And going forward, they hope to keep the president accountable.
We need a more active community. We need to take a political stance on a number of different issues.
The protest won't end with today's inauguration. Tomorrow, hundreds of people in Colorado Springs and tens of thousands of people in Denver are expected to take to the streets as part of a nationwide series of demonstrations in step with the Women's March on Washington at the nation's capital. Live in Pueblo, Katie Spencer, KRDO News Channel 13.
All right, Katie, thanks. Protesting also took place today up in Denver. This is helicopter video from our news partners at KMGH around 8 this morning. Students from East High School walked out of class to join hundreds of others who gathered for an anti-Trump protest. Many people also gathered in Civic Center Park to, quote, disrupt the flow of commerce in the area. The group called Disrupt DJ 20 is calling for a day of disruption and resistance. They plan to hold another demonstration today at 6 p.m. Denver police are expected to step up patrols throughout the night. Protesting also took place today in our nation's capital. Police confirm officers did use pepper spray on some of the protesters in downtown D.C. It was one of several demonstrations that broke out in the Capitol. This incident happened while the inauguration was going on. Another group of demonstrators vandalized businesses with bats. More protesting is expected this weekend, including Saturday's Women's March on Washington. That march could attract 250,000 participants, making it one of the larger political rallies that city has ever seen. With the Obama family handing the keys to the White House over to the Trump family, many are wondering what's next for the Obamas. The couple gave us the answer to that question by posting a message on their YouTube channel. The Obamas will, of course, join the rest of us as private citizens. Michelle says they first plan, though, to get some rest and spend time together as a family before getting to work on their next project, a new presidential center.
The center will be based on the south side of Chicago, but it will have projects all over the city, the country, and the world. More than a library or a museum, it will be a living, working center for citizenship.
The Obamas are looking for input from the public on the new center, saying it will be as much the people's presidential center as it is theirs. With the inaugural ceremonies wrapping up this morning and this afternoon, it was time to move on and celebrate for the rest of the day, starting with a luncheon at the Capitol Rotunda. Next came the inaugural parade. Police, military, and federal agents worked to keep protesters from interfering with that parade as thousands of supporters lined Pennsylvania Avenue to honor the new commander-in-chief. And tonight the festivities continue. The parade wrapped up just about an hour ago, but the president will attend 3 inaugural balls before spending his first night in the White House with his entire family. We want to take you to a live look now at one of those 3 inaugural balls. The festivities just kicked off a few minutes ago. This is the first inaugural ball the Trump family will attend tonight. Back here in southern Colorado, one local group met today not to support or protest the inauguration, but to promote unity. Church members gathered at the Vista Grande Community Church for a different kind of ceremony. The event was full of speeches, singing, and praying. Church members say it was a way to show support in the community.
The idea is really less about a protest type of thing, which seems to be going around, and more about taking the time to kind of hold up where we are in our community.
The Colorado Springs Council for Justice is also organizing another event called the First 100 Hours Climate Justice Vigil. That event is scheduled for 5 o'clock January 23rd at Acacia Park in downtown Colorado Springs. Turning away from our inauguration coverage, I want to take a look at the weather here in southern Colorado with Storm Tracker 13's Mike Everett. We saw weather today that was actually very similar to what we saw in D.C. We saw a lot of that cloud cover. They had a little bit of rain and drizzle there. They didn't quite see the snow that we had. They were a bit warmer than we were. We are actually cooling off now. 31 courtesy of our Huberger Subaru Neighborhood Weather Network camera right above me. And you see the steam from the Drake power plant going straight up. The winds are calm. And a lot of that cloud cover is starting to make its way off to the east. A little bit of blue sky poking out. You can see this right now from our Ceramic Landscape Material camera in Fountain. There's a little bit of blue sky trying to poke through there. Some of that cloud cover glomming onto the Front Range Mountains still, but we will continue to see some of that clearing through the night tonight, but that will make us cool. We're going to get back into the 20s again. Phase 1 is complete as far as our first round of weather goes. In fact, this one's already out of the state and on its way into Kansas, kind of falling apart as it's doing so, but here comes rounds 2 and 3. Another big batch of moisture. It seems like it's just been doing this every 3 days, especially in California. You know, they've had all those drought issues for so long, and now they can't seem to get it to stop. We're going to talk about when it arrives here and how that impacts your weekend coming up in my full forecast. Bart, back to you. Mike, thanks. Colorado Springs police continue investigating the deadly shooting of a homeless man after he was confronted inside a home on Wahsatch Avenue. Up next, you'll hear from neighbors who say similar activity is common from the homeless in that area.